Hi everybody, Susan here. Welcome to another episode of the podcast. It's great to see you here. It's coming to you on a sort of mild but still chilly, overcast day here in Calgary, Alberta, where I am going on to week 4 of self-isolation, social distancing. Oh my gosh. Welcome I decided to do a more official podcast instead of doing a live, just because I have the time now. And I've been enjoying everybody uploading their content and stuff, and so I thought I'd just add to the mix. If you're a returning viewer, hi, welcome. I hope you're well, and welcome back. If you are a new viewer or you're just checking out my channel for the first time, I am an artist, soon-to-be librarian, public library worker, person, maker, teacher, whatever, living here in Calgary, where I share a very cozy and cluttered apartment with my partner Ryan and our very rambunctious 3-year-old cat Jessup. Ryan is at work today, and I'm at home, like where I have been now for almost a month. And I'm doing a little bit of knitting, and yeah, I didn't really plan too much for this episode, so I apologize in advance. It might be a little bit kind of stream of consciousness, but the things that I do want to share with you today are my current works in progress. I do have some finished objects, a finished object that I can show you. I'll just have to go get it, and some maker plans and just some general chatter, I guess. So get something to drink. I'm drinking a coffee in this travel mug by Swell that has little socks all over it, which is super cute and much needed for someone like me who takes forever to drink a cup of coffee. Usually it might take me like 4 hours to drink a cup of coffee. So I like having it warm. So yeah, grab a project or something, settle in. We're going to get the show on the road. All right, the first thing that we're going to talk about today are finished objects. And I do have one finished object that I started. I can't remember when I started it. You wouldn't have seen it maybe you would have seen it in the last episode. I did a live episode previous to this, and I think I showed it there. But this is it in a more official capacity here. I cast this on when I was sick. I was sent home from work at the beginning of March due to as my doctor called it, a prolonged viral infection. So as you guys know from all my Vlogmas videos and stuff in December, how sick I got, and I just never got better. Thankfully, I am very much on the mend, and it turned out that my illness, aside from catching all sorts of really cool viral infections from working with the public, hazards of public library work really, I had really, really low B12 levels, so a major B12 deficiency, and which as a result of that, it caused me to get sicker than normal healthy people would get sick. And so the last time I saw her was right before the pandemic kind of really hit Canada, and I saw my doctor, and she had told me to stay home for a week to get better, because she said if I get sick again, I'll end up with pneumonia in my lungs. No matter what it is, whether it was COVID-19 or whatever, I would end up with pneumonia because and I still have breathing issues and stuff too. Now, even I take a deep breath and it just kind of, I don't know, it doesn't feel great. But other than that, my energy levels are back up. I've been taking B12 shots and vitamins every day, and I've been feeling increasingly better every day, which is a good thing. I'm still very wary about going out in public and being around anybody because I do not want to get sick, and because I'll be hooped if I do. So I need to wait until I'm nice and healthy, and then I can get sick, because then I can actually fight it. But I digress. So the whole thing, when I was homesick, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't concentrate on anything, and I wanted to knit to kind of take my mind off of being ill and being off work and all that stuff. And I cast on another Ursa sweater. This makes number 3. I have 3 Ursa sweaters now. This one might be one of my favorites though. Here we go. This is my Ursa, my most recent one. I have a little Stitch and Witch pin right here attached to. I love putting enamel pins on my knitting. It's kind of fun. This sweater, the pattern is by Jacqueline Cieslak, and it's a great pattern. It's a cropped style sweater that's slightly boxy, and it has a V-neck, like a V scoop neck, and then there's brioche detailing all down the side and down the sides of the sleeves here and down the edge, and then the brioche detailing that goes down to the front, kind of like a triangle underneath the breastbone area kind of thing. This sweater is so much fun to knit, and it's so wearable, and it looks great on so many people. And the yarn I used for it is actually a worsted weight yarn held together with Brooklyn tweed loft to achieve sort of a bulky, chunky weight kind of weight. And I loved using this, like combining those yarns together, because the Brooklyn tweed loft, and the color I used is the colorway, it's called Sap. So it's like this. Do I have a skein of it somewhere? Okay. Doop. Here is, you can kind of see, this is like pretty true. It's this lovely kind of yellowy green, and then held together with like a pretty flat superwash purple. Like it's a very flat kind of royal purple. The resulting thing is a really light and drapey sweater. I love this sweater. I made the sleeves a little bit longer than I normally do. It blocked and grew a fair bit, and I've been loving it for this kind of weather, because it's not winter anymore, but it's not necessarily spring here in Calgary yet. The temperatures are still pretty cold, and we've still been getting snow. I think the snow is done now, but knock on wood. But this sweater has been great for layering underneath my denim jacket. So I really love it. My denim jacket is like a cropped kind of bomber style, so cropped sweaters work really well underneath that jacket. So finished object number 1. I love it. I love it. It's so good. So good. Okay, I'm gonna put that over to the side. Which brings me to some works in progress, because I am fairly certain that everybody who is practicing social distancing or is in a shelter-in-place rule. I know a lot of places in the US are under shelter-in-place. As of right now, where I live, they haven't done a shelter-in-place yet. What they have most recently done is that they have closed all non-essential services. So all of the stores that would be considered non-essential, so like yarn stores, fabric stores, stuff like that, they've closed them to the public. So thankfully though, if those businesses are able to provide delivery or curbside pickup, they can still remain open. So, which is really great for the fabric and knitting store that I frequent. And also really good for my partner, because he works for a small independently owned art supply store, and I've already been laid off, and that sucks. And I don't want us both to be laid off. So if he can keep working, this is what we're hoping for. But curbside pickup, delivery, if to support local businesses that can do that, that makes me really, really happy that people can still keep their jobs, still keep working, and we can still, you know, get the things that we need, especially for our creative lives, because roundabout circle, this is like a really surreal, strange situation that we're all in, where we have to stay home, and like a lot of us can't work anymore. We're temporarily laid off, or, you know, we've lost our jobs, or, you know, we're working from home. Kudos to anybody working from home and who has small children at home. You are amazing human beings that you're able to juggle, and if it feels that you can't juggle it, you are doing an amazing job. You really are. I consider myself very lucky that in this situation that I am not doing anything like that. I just have to worry about the cat and Ryan and me, and that's it. So I do not envy. I have great admiration for anybody that's going through that. But I digress. We're all at home. There's probably, this is the understatement of the century, that there's probably a feeling of anxiety going through us. I haven't felt this constant thrum of anxiety in me since I was probably 22, and it's not a great feeling. And as a result, I tend to start things, and I think I'm not alone with that. Everybody is casting new things on, starting sewing projects. We have new things all over the place, and it's kind of like this an anxious energy, I think, that we just need to exercise out of our systems somehow, because we can't go to the park and run around because the parks are closed. And especially if you're living in an apartment building like I am, you can barely even leave your unit out of fear that you might run into somebody coughing in the elevator. So it's just bleh. Anyway, I've cast on new projects. Let me show you the first one. This is the one I was working on. It's covered in fluff. I have this thing for this gold kind of color lately. I'm like going on to Dundernit territory. It must be the redhead in me. This here is the party top. And who is it by? I can't remember. The details will be below. But I know she's a Canadian designer. The party top is a cropped, sort of pretty fitted sweater with 3/4 length sleeves, and the sleeves have I love that it's showing up on camera. Like, that's really good. Have eyelets, staggered eyelets down the whole way. I cast this on directly after seeing Tommy of Squirrel Pie Productions cast hers on using her own hand spun, and I was like, I would also like to cast on that sweater, please, because whatever Tommy does, Susan does. So yeah, I cast it on using this yarn. I have it put on my like whirligig, or not whirligig, woolligig, but the ball doesn't really fit on there, so it kind of looks like this weird egg. But you can see the colorway. It's this orangey gold, beautiful harvest kind of color. This is from, do I have the label? Oh, for goodness sake. Yeah, I really am not prepared for any of this. This yarn is from This is Sugar Creek, Sugar Hill, something like that. They're a local farm to Alberta, like to me, and they had spun up their own yarn, and this colorway is called Tobacco, and tobacco leaf. I'm gonna see if I have that label. All right, I found the label. It's not anything to do with sugar at all. This is Rosebud River Fiber Mill. They're located in Rosebud, Alberta, so a lovely rural town. The colorway is called Tobacco Leaf. Let me hold that up. Right here. It is a 2-ply DK weight yarn that's kind of thick and thin. It's 100% Corriedale. And yeah, we have about 330 meters to 100 grams, which is pretty good. We're getting 12 wraps per inch, whatever. I used to know what that meant when I was weaving a lot. But I really love how this is turning out, and I love looking at it in the camera. This is actually turning out even better. So this is a top-down sweater, raglan, increasing for the sleeves, and you can see that it's pretty thick and thin, so it's pretty lumpy. I have a feeling that this is going to block really beautifully, and it's going to soften up a lot when it blocks, because right now it's a little crispy, and with all of the dryness in my hands and from washing my hands constantly, but also having the cat scratch me because he is tired of me trying to love him so much because I've been home for so long. The yarn gets stuck on my hand every so often, which is so gross. But I think it's gonna wash up beautifully. I just hope I have enough yarn. So I know I'm not gonna be able to do full sleeves, which is fine for me because I think this is gonna be such a light sweater that having the 3/4 length, or just like, the half length sleeves to the elbow length sleeves, whatever, I think will be perfect for what I need. And it's gonna look so cute with all of my skirts. I'm so excited. And then I might, if this turns out really well, I might even make another one with hand spun. So I've been toying around the idea of totally and completely copying Tommy, and getting some fiber from one of my pals here who's a local dyer. And she has she dyes a lot of fleece, a lot of roving, and she has some really great neon colors, and I kind of really want that. Ooh, especially to like 2-ply it, and then you get this sort of like great barber poling thing happening. Ooh, I need to do that before all of my money runs out. Priorities. So this is going. I'm happy with how it's kind of chugging along. I haven't done any modifications to this at all. I'm just following the pattern as it is. Oh, my needles fell out here. The only annoying thing that's happening with these needles, I'm using a Chiaogu interchangeables, is that it must be the way that I'm holding the yarn or holding the needles, because I keep unscrewing the damn needle from the cord, which is driving me absolutely bananas. I find, ooh, lost another stitch. I find if I'm knitting, if I'm picking with my, like holding the yarn in my left hand instead of my right, it doesn't happen nearly as much. I am fairly ambidextrous with my knitting now. And that's one of the things I've been trying to do in the last couple of projects, where I've either been knitting them entirely by picking, so holding the yarn in my left hand, and it's been going pretty well. I've been trying to maintain really good tension with that, which is why I do the Norwegian purl, which is kind of basically acrobatics with your yarn. There's a lot of scooping with your right wrist. It's kind of fun. It gives your hands a bit of a workout and something different. So yeah, working on that. That's going. I also cast on, like everybody did last week. It felt like last year. All of our weeks are feeling like years. So Jessie May, I was following her on Instagram, and now she's revealed what the thing looks like because everybody finished the project, but a secret crop top make along and our knit along. And so I cast on for it pretty much immediately. I'm not finished yet. I'm probably about halfway done. And I wasn't going to spoil it for myself to see what it looked like because she provided the pattern. There was just no images. So she hadn't knit the pattern yet. The way that she designs, I guess, which is amazing, is that she writes everything out. She knits it in her head and has it all written out. She just hasn't knit the object yet. So what she did is she released this pattern that hadn't been tech edited yet, hadn't been test knit or anything, and basically was like, have fun, everybody. And yeah, it's really cute. It's this cute oh, as I'm talking, sorry guys, there we go, I can breathe again. So I lost my train of thought when I started coughing. Drink. So the project itself is this cute, very cropped little tank top that you can either, the straps, you can use them kind of like a halter style strap, or you can just have them straps pulled to the back, which I think is what I'm going to do. Or maybe I might make a little halter. I don't know. I'll decide. So the result is pretty cute. And what she recommends is DK weight yarn, and you don't need very much. It's like under 300 meters type of thing. I think in some cases it's like 200 meters. I'm using some fingering weight from my stash held together. And this is what I have so far. So I have, you can see, I have a progress keeper right there. I'm going to be knitting another 3 inches, I think. And then we'll split for the front and the back. Just because I know I've knit a handful of Jessie Maed's patterns now, specifically the ripple crop top worsted, and I know that the math that she's using for length is not long enough for me. Like I know that now I have to add like at least 2 inches, 3 inches to it to make it longer for what I'm comfortable with. And oftentimes her stuff tends to be really low too, which is fun if you like showing off the jiggly bits, but and I don't mind doing that. It's just my style is usually a little higher. I like either a little V-neck or like this kind of scoop neck like this. Yeah, so I always have to alter. The last crop top I made of hers, I altered the neckline to raise it up a bit, and I was very pleased with the results. So yeah, this is slowly coming along. The yarn that I'm using, I'll show you. The first yarn is this random scrap self-striping sock yarn here that's kind of like, I think it kind of works in like an ombre or something, a little bit ombre-y, and it's just all these shades of purple, green and blue is what it is. And then like lighter bits and all this stuff. It's all crinkly and crazy because I guess I must have made something with it, but I honest to God cannot remember what I used this for. It's just all crinkly. Maybe it was already crinkly. I don't know. I don't know what yarn it is. It's just, I found it in one of the random bins of sock yarn that I have. But I am holding it together with something I do know what it is. And here we go. This is a really beautiful skein of fingering weight. This is 90% or 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. And this is hand dyed by me. It's this beautiful deep green, and it has little flecks of like bright blue, bright purple in there. And what that's from is basically where the ties were in the yarn. When I teach yarn painting workshops at the knitting store where I work, we always test, the students test their colors on just random skein of yarn, and then that random skein of yarn I call the dyer's palette, because we have all of the test samples and stuff there, and because everybody shares dyes. And at the end of it, if there's any leftover dyes, what I do is I take the dyer skein and I put it inside of a great big jar, and then I get the students to pour the leftover dyes into the jar, and then we just put the jar in the window for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. And that's what this is. So I guess the majority of the colors that went into this were green or something like that, and I love the result of it, and it's working out really, really great, held double with this other green sort of gradient self-striping-ish yarn. I'm really loving the results, really loving it. And I should have lots left over, I think, of this one. This one I didn't have a full skein of it, so I'm probably gonna end up using all of this, but I'll have lots of this left over. So quite possibly, if I don't have enough to do the straps with both of these held together, I'll probably just do the straps with this held double. So yeah, this is on its way. Hopefully I'll be able to get this done soon so that I can, I think this will look really cute with my pencil skirts that I've been making. And I just need to make a little cardigan or something to go over top of it. I think it'll look cute underneath a York pinafore too. I really want to make another York pinafore. So yeah, that's 2 cast-on objects. Haha. But wait, there's more. I have another one in here, and oh, sorry. The other one that I have, I cast on in February, but it's incredibly complicated. And I put it away because it was too complicated for me to focus on at the time. And now I fear if I pick it up, I have no idea where I started and where I stopped. But it's the Water Bearer cardigan by Jacqueline Cieslak. And it's beautiful so far. But it is seriously one of the most complicated things I've ever made. The construction is fascinating. And I'm just like, trust the pattern, Susan. I guess it's all working out. But I've already separated for the sleeves, so I'm just going down the body now. But here we go. If I can hold it up. There we are. This back bit right here with all of this crazy ass brioche, that's beautiful. This is the shawl collar. And then this is the, yeah. So this would go behind the neck, essentially. And then this is the back. Let's just marvel at this brioche, because I had to work hard to understand this brioche. I had never really done brioche before. I mean, I have, but I haven't done anything with shaping. And so she does offer a headband pattern to kind of build up your skills so you can tackle the sweater. The hardest part about the sweater, I find, is that the shawl shape, like the brioche trim that goes down the sides here, it's they're curving it different directions. So there's 2 different charts that you have to follow, or 2 different instructions to follow. And then in addition to that, you have to also be mindful that every so many rows, you have to do a short row, because brioche stitch and stockinette stitch are not the same gauge in their row height. So you have to make up for that by adding in short rows, so that you don't end up with this weird bunched thing. It's complicated. I will sit down and keep working on it. The yarn that the finished object, I'll show you the finished objects. I do actually have it printed out. Let's see. Yeah. So here we go. That's the finished object. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. And I mean, it's an Aquarius sweater, and I'm an Aquarius, so it just felt fitting, and I feel like I will be unstoppable when I wear it and have it. And all that stuff. It's just like an Aquarius. It's a bit of a challenge. Challenge to work on. The yarn that I'm using, if I don't knock everything over, is from Ancient Arts right here. One of my favorite indie yarn companies. I love Ancient Arts yarn. All of their bases are absolutely scrumptious, and I use their yarn a lot because they're local. The price points are really good, and they have such a great sense of color. This one is their DK light worsted. It's 100% superwash extra fine merino. We're getting about 220 yards per 100 grams. This colorway is called Lake Louise, which is a perfect Lake Louise color. Lake Louise, for those that don't know, is a lake, like it's a national park, essentially. National park or provincial park? I don't know, doesn't matter. Can't go there now, whatever it is. But they have this like huge hotel that's there, and it's this big, beautiful lake right in the heart of the mountains. And the water is, in the summertime, is always this sort of like bright greeny blue. And yeah, so this yarn, I love it because you have that bright greeny blue, but then you also have these lighter colors here and this gray in there and the green that just remind me of the Rockies behind, the snow-capped Rockies behind the lake. And I love how it's pooling. I am not alternating skeins. I am not the type of person that ever alternates skeins ever. I could think of better things to do with my time than alternating skeins. I'm only going to alternate skeins if they're stripes. That's the only time I'm going to do it. So I'm a big fan of pooling, so I like it when the pool happens. I'm really loving how this is turning out. But again, it is kind of a complicated project, so I need to make sure that I have a good frame of mind when I'm doing it. And lately though, I haven't been wanting to focus on anything that isn't just simple stockinette. So I'm working on that. I have a couple of other things that I'm working on that maybe I'll share in another episode, I think, since I have my trigger mitt pattern, the called Soft Offering. I finished one mitten and I just need to make the other mitten to get the pattern, and I'm hoping to have the pattern written sooner rather than later, especially now that I have a lot of time. So keep an eye out for that. Follow me on Instagram and all that stuff. And I'm probably going to put a call out for test knitters, especially because I want to knit it not only with the fingering weight held with mohair, but I want to knit it in plain fingering weight or sport weight just to see what it'll look like too. So yeah, keep an eye out. Follow me on Instagram. The other work in progress that I have is not knitting, but it is using all sorts of yarn scraps, and it is a punch needle project. So I started this a couple of days ago. Here we go. I have it up on top of my frame here. I'm doing a punch needle with on burlap. So this is jute burlap that I had in my stash, and I'm using a Amy Oxford punch needle in the size, it's size 13. Yeah, so it's like one of the fine ones that is intended for worsted weight, DK weight yarn, and that's the majority of the yarn that I'm using. The pattern, the drawing that I'm doing is just some random thing with a bunch of shapes, and it just kind of looks a little space agey, and I think it'll be kind of fun when it's done. But let me show you the right side, because that's the back side. This is the back side, so you can see the flat edges and like all the you know, almost looks like embroidery or whatever. I'm a big fan of piles, so some people when they do punch needle, they always show the side that it doesn't have the pile on it because they like the level of detail that you can get with just those what looks like running stitches going along the back. I'm a huge fan of the fuzzy piles. So this is what the front side looks like so far. So it's pretty dense, and ignore my nails. They're sad. I haven't gotten them done, and I can't get them done anytime soon, so they're just gonna keep being sad. Here we go. I have, the background is going to be this gray. This is Mineville Wool Project, DK. This was yarn I used in one of my other Ursa sweaters, so it's the leftover stuff. This one right here is DK leftovers from Farmer's Daughter and from my Sedolna crop that I made, and so it's leftover bits. And this one right here is another Mineville Wool Project, this yellow. That's leftover bits from the Ripple crop top worsted that I made, and it's like a DK weight. What I love is actually this gray that I'm using, because it's such a different texture from all of the superwash yarns that I've been using. And that yarn is this right here. It is a ombre skein that is kind of like, it's that type of yarn that, let me see here. It's like an I-cord. It's like, yeah, it's totally an I-cord that's been infused with fluff. So it's super, super airy. I had bought a big ball of it with the intention of doing this sort of like an ombre style pullover, and it was like a pattern by Caitlin Hunter, and I just got very confused about what I was doing, and also about using I should have bought two balls of this so that I could have the full ombre thing happen, instead of like when you separated for the front and the back and the sleeves. Then I didn't realize at the time that you had to also divide up the balls so that your front and your back were the same color. Anyway, it doesn't matter. This is why top down is so much easier most of the time. So I'm using this for the background, which means that it's going to be differing shades of this gray blue. So there are little parts of it like down here, all around here. Might end up being like a really dark blue when I'm done, or maybe even a light gray. I don't know. I'm just kind of having fun by like playing it by like improvising as I go. But punch needle is so satisfying. I really love this craft, and I love that I have enough burlap that I can actually do this on. And I know for those of you that have done punch needle and you know all of the stuff and all that stuff that, you know, Amy Oxford herself, who created the Oxford punch needle, she does not recommend using burlap, like jute burlap, because it will break with the force of the punch needle going through. That's true, yeah. But not everybody can afford monk's cloth. Not everybody can afford like lovely linen burlap or anything like that. So I use what I have, which is like a shit ton of burlap that I had for other rug hooking projects when I was doing more traditional rug hooking. So with almost like a crochet hook looking thing instead of the punch needle. Punch needle is definitely way faster though. So yeah, I'm working on that, having fun with that. My mom is also working on a punch needle project, so we've been kind of updating each other on our punch needle, which is pretty fun. Yeah, so I'm gonna keep chugging away. I think when it's done, I'm going to finish off the edges, fold them all in, and finish off the edges with some bias tape to kind of close, have all the raw edges enclosed. And then I thought about, I might experiment a little bit with doing some crochet borders around it. Maybe. I have some thoughts. I think that's probably like the coolest thing about the coolest thing, it's not cool, but one of the like benefits of not working, of being at home, not doing school, and just sitting around is that I feel like my creative energy is coming back, and it's something that has been missing for a long time. And so, yeah, I've been kind of enjoying like just allowing myself to cast new things on or to start new projects and to just like go down that rabbit hole of making. I've just been really liking that because I have no other real responsibilities right now except for that. And like driving Ryan to and from work so he doesn't have to take the bus. Like, that's my only responsibility right now. And staying well. That's my other responsibility. So, yeah. I haven't done any sewing yet. I have some sewing projects in mind. One of the sewing projects that I'm probably going to end up doing is, oh, I should show, let me get it. So I have sewing projects that I'd like to do, and I have some patterns pulled aside. I had a lot of patterns printed a while ago that I just haven't gotten around to making. I have lots of fabric in my stash, and I'm just gonna have to focus and make stuff. And one of the things that I want to make was when they just started announcing measures and social distancing measures and stuff in Calgary. The fabric store that I go to, Rick Rack Textiles, as well as Stash, which is the knitting store that I work at, they immediately closed their stores to the public and started doing curbside pickup and delivery instead, or like not delivery, but it's all curbside pickup. So you have to call in your orders and you pay over the phone and all that stuff. So I was still on mandatory bed rest at the time, or like really mandatory self-isolation, and I really wanted to get some fabric to make a fanny pack, and I wanted to make like a pandemic fanny pack, so it has like for when I go out for a walk, so it'll have like my hand sanitizer in there, some Kleenex and some gloves, some like if I need to, and then like other dorky things. And then when I go back, when all of these shenanigans are done and over and we go back to semi-regular life and I am back at work, these fanny packs are going to be awesome for work because I'll be able to keep my phone on me instead of especially because all of the skirts and stuff that I've been making don't have pockets, so a fanny pack would be very handy. This is all to say I gave the folks at the fabric store free rein. I was like, you know me, put together two fabric kits or project kits for me to make the Fennel fanny pack by Sarah Kirsten, whatever. So the fanny pack, it's just like a really simple but utilitarian, like kind of square fanny pack that you make with either canvas or a cotton using lots of interfacing and all that stuff. So this is the fabric that they picked out for me. So the first one is this canvas right here, which is beautiful. This is cotton and steel. Yeah, it's cotton and steel. And it's like it's the Kibori Tara collection. Yeah. And it's gorgeous. I really, really like this. It's sort of this like modern, like 1950s kind of fun starburst, sunburst pattern. I love this. So this will be the exterior of one of the fanny packs. And then the other canvas I have is this one here. So this one is Rifle Paper Co. It's another canvas and has pineapples all over it, and the pineapples are shiny. So I really love this one, and I'm just gonna have to figure out how to cut the fabric so I can maximize for as many shiny pineapples as I can. So I got those two, and then the interior fabrics, they had just gotten in a new line of Tula Pink printed cottons, and I really, really love them. And I'm like, okay, pick two of the cottons that you think kind of coordinate-ish. And this is one. Oh my gosh, it's so good. And the best part about it, they're measuring tapes. Oh my gosh. I love it so much. I really want to get more of this stuff so that I can make like a little shirt, a little top with it. I think it's so fun. Or like a little dress. Ugh. And then the other one I have is also that great neon green, is this one here with scissors. The scissor one I am really into. I love this one. So yeah, we're gonna be making those fanny packs at some point. I have all of the webbing for the waist strap. I have zippers. I have all of that stuff. I think this is one of the zippers I'm gonna have to shorten, which will be fine. And then hopefully I'll have like a really cool, cute little fanny pack. So this one, I think I'm gonna pair. So when Kelsey picked this out, I think she intended for this and this to go together, and this to go together, like being like the pinks are talking to each other. I think I'm actually going to do the opposite and put this one and this together like that, and this one and this together, because I like the green here. I think really pulls out the green and the blue here. I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be fun. You're not really going to see this too much anyway. Maybe I might reverse it and have this on the outside and the canvas on the inside. Maybe. Anyway, so those are my fabric, and the curbside pickup was so much fun. So I just stayed in my car, and then they brought it out to me through the window, which was really cool. And we managed to maintain our distance of 2 meters the entire time. So that was really good. Yeah, and I also got another thing. I am going to do is I want to challenge myself a little bit to do another sewing project where I'm going to take one pattern that has several different views, and I'm going to try to make every view of it. So the one I'm going to do for that is the Maya top by Marilla Walker. And I bought the pattern, I think I was looking at my PDF files on my computer, and I'm like, I guess I bought that one in 2018. And I just never sewed it because I didn't have the confidence to sew like I do now. And that pattern, it's size inclusive, it's has a lot of variations. You can do a dress, crop top, little shirts with pockets and things with a tie and all this stuff. It's like very much my aesthetic of sort of like the strata top that I'm wearing right now, where the sleeves are short like this. It's basically it's basically like, you know, a square that's really flowy. I really like these kinds of shirts, especially pairing with the pencil skirts that I've been making. I like that silhouette a lot. So yeah, I want to make another one. I want to make a whole bunch of them. And I think I have enough fabric to do that with. I definitely do. I have a lot of crap that I picked up at bargain bins a couple of years ago that I haven't used. And it's just sitting in my stash, like fabric stash, which is underneath this table. It's all sitting in buckets in there. So I might give those a try. Yeah, lots of making. Other things that I've been doing since being home and trying to occupy myself from, you know, wallowing in a deep pit of anxiety and despair, is we ended up getting a Nintendo Switch. and I got Animal Crossing. And I am not a video game person. Ryan is very much a gamer. He has always been a gamer, and we have a lot of different systems, gaming systems, but we didn't have a Nintendo Switch. So I wanted one because Candace of the Pin, Feathers, and Pearls podcast, she's obsessed with Animal Crossing, and whatever Candace does, I do too. But yeah, we got Animal Crossing, and I've never played Animal Crossing ever in my life, and I've played a lot of Mario Kart in my day, but Animal Crossing, no. And I love it. I love it. And I think there's a reason why so many of us are gravitating towards damn Animal Crossing. Ryan described it as being like, he's like, it just seems like mindless busy work. And I'm like, exactly. This is perfect. This is what we need now, is mindless busy work. So, yeah, I've been trying to kind of clock in and play a little bit of that every day, just because what I've been finding, if I play it too late at night, it almost works like a sedative and I start getting really sleepy. So I might sit down and play a little bit of it this afternoon. And yeah, I've been having a lot of fun. And if you follow me on Instagram, every so often I'll put up my Switch ID so that you can be my friend on Nintendo Switch. And then if you also have Animal Crossing, then we can visit each other's islands. Although I'm not letting anybody over at my island yet because it's not anything yet. I just got my house. And it's just a tiny, tiny house. So I don't even have the ability to make bridges or stairs yet. So I want to keep playing until I get that. But the other thing I'm really into with Animal Crossing is doing designer outfits, like custom outfits. So that's always been my favorite game, is making avatars. I should be playing The Sims or something. No, I'm not going to. Animal Crossing is enough. Yeah, so that's basically what I've been doing around this way. I hope that all of you are staying safe and staying healthy and well, and that you are home and not going completely bonkers, and that, I don't know, you're finding small moments of joy and peace, and that know that it's okay to feel like everything is messed up, because it is messed up. We're living in a weird time right now. But know that you're not alone in feeling anxious and feeling lonely and all that stuff. Know that you're not alone in doing that. Everybody is feeling that way. I know I sure as hell am. So if you feel like you want to reach out or anything like that, please do. Follow me on Instagram. I've been doing Instagram Lives, and I've also registered for a Zoom account and a Zoom membership so that I can host Zoom nights. So keep an eye out for that. If you follow me on Instagram, I will post when I'm doing like a Zoom knit night, hangout night type of thing. We did one on Thursday afternoon, and it was a lot of fun. And so you don't need to pay for Zoom in order to take part at all. So you just have to, I'll give you the code and you can come join. And that way we can kind of pretend that we have people. You can connect with people. You can talk to somebody that isn't, your own reflection. And I also figured out how to do custom backgrounds. So get ready for that hilarity. If you have experienced Slime Girl, my slime Susan on Instagram, just you wait for Zoom. Yeah, so if you want to join us over there, definitely feel free. But yeah, I'm gonna leave you there. I'm gonna get some more coffee and make some lunch. But thanks for watching, everybody. And if you like this video and you want to keep up to date with more stuff that I have happening, hit the subscribe button, click the little bell thing, give this video a thumbs up if you feel like it. Every little bit helps and all that stuff. And I'll check in with you again, sooner rather than later. Yeah. Keep being magic, everybody. Bye.